Okay, our next and final stop on this tour of the wonders of WPS, we're going to connect one wireless router and two Windows 7 workstations wirelessly without the use of a setup CD, without manually logging on to the router, without a USB flash drive, and without even connecting a network cable to the router. As you can see from my adapter settings, my local area connection has been disabled. We do, however, have a wireless connection to an unconfigured Linksys router. Once you understand how this works, adding a new computer to your wireless network will be as simple as turning it on, typing in an 8-digit PIN, and connecting. This is truly the ultimate in simplicity when it comes to wireless networking. Okay, so let's get started. Now, the first thing I did was I reset this particular router to unconfigured mode. So we can assume that this is just like taking a router straight out of the box. The next thing we want to do is we want to get into Network and Sharing Center. From there, we want to go to Setup New Connection or Network, Set up a new network or configure a new router or access point. Those are our keywords right there. Click Next. It's going to go out and it's going to discover all the unconfigured wireless devices on the network. Now in our case, the router we're interested in is this Linksys model right here. So we click Next. Next, it wants that router's PIN. So we simply turn the router over, copy in the PIN, click Next. And then it asks what we would like to call our new network. As we see here, by default, it is chosen to use WPA2 Personal for us. Now we can change this if we want, but since this is the latest and greatest, we'll go with that. And here it's generated a passphrase for us. And we can choose to do a number of these things. Most people just hit close and forget it. Well, we're not most people. We actually enjoy this stuff. So what we're going to do is we have the choice of either copying it and pasting it into a document, or we can print these settings. But of course, we really don't want to walk around with a piece of paper configuring adapters. So the next option is to copy these settings to a USB drive. And yes, we do have a USB-G drive, and it recognizes that, so we just click Next. So it gives us some brief description of what we need to do, and we're pretty familiar with this process already. I'm going to remove this USB flash drive for later use. We're going to hit Close. And we're going to double check our wireless router just to make sure it has in fact been configured. Going to enable this connection so we can connect to it with the cable. And let's take a look at our wireless settings. And just as we had hoped, it has been configured with the settings we entered into the wizard. So let's go ahead and connect to this router. And it's already done that for us. Next, we're going to go over to another Windows 7 workstation. We're going to simply log into it. We're going to open up this little WPS client, which is new in Windows 7. And all we have to do is simply push the button on the router and we'll be connected. So let's give that a shot. Okay, so here we are logged on to Windows 7 computer number 2. Okay, so let's assume that this is a brand new laptop and we want to join it to our home wireless network. And we've got a router which is compatible with Windows 7, which will enable us to simply connect this computer to the wireless network by simply pushing the button on the router. Okay, well, let's give it a shot. Simply go down here, find our network that we want to connect to, click Connect, and look what happens. It gives us the option of A, entering the security key, or simply pushing the button on the router. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to reach over here. I'm going to push the button on the router. Getting settings from router. Connecting to Ding-a-ling. Let's look for this little wheelie gig to stop spinning. And look at there. We've connected to the Ding-a-ling network by simply pressing a button on the router. It simply does not get any simpler than that. Now I will tell you this. We have gone through many different methods of connecting to a wireless router. The USB flash drive method and WPS, both with Windows Vista and Windows 7. Now while these are all great shortcuts, some shortcuts are filled with potholes. So don't expect these methods to always work, because they don't. I spent a lot of time scratching my head trying to figure out why some of this wonderful technology doesn't work. Well, unfortunately, for now, we have to place some of this wonderful technology in the same category as the easy setup wizard. What it all comes down to is the more you know, the better off you are. So if one method doesn't work, you can try another. And if that method doesn't work, we can always fall back on the one method we know works, which is logging onto the router and configuring it manually. Well, that concludes our discussion on Windows Protected Setup.